everyone, I am Seth from Myriad Misadventures, and today I am going to do a short recap of my trip to Georgetown, which is the capital of Penang in Malaysia. Don't forget to check out my short walk-around video. The links are in all the normal places. We went to Georgetown after we finished up in Kuala Lumpur. It seems like a pretty popular spot, so it was not too difficult to get to. You can take a train from Kuala Lumpur to Butterworth, and then from Butterworth you can take a ferry across the Penang Strait to Georgetown. I really liked the size of Georgetown. The city is technically quite large, but the central bit, where a lot of the things you might want to see are, is not too overwhelming. After trekking around Kuala Lumpur for a day or two, it was much easier on the legs. Just like in Kuala Lumpur, the food in Georgetown was great because, just like in Kuala Lumpur, there was a ton of variety. There's a Chinese restaurant in Georgetown that is supposed to be excellent. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you how it is because when we went there, the place was absolutely swarmed and I hate waiting. So instead, we walked down the street and got street food. I love street food. It's cheap, it's really good, it is absolutely the best bang for your buck. At the place we stopped at, we had some lemonade, we had some fried noodles, we had some eggs with some kind of shellfish, we had another kind of shellfish, clams or mussels maybe, we had octopus, we had some meat skewers, we had some vegetables. While we were in Georgetown, we also had some great brownies with ice cream, some shawarma, some Chinese food, although I think my favorite food was probably the street food from that first night. When we weren't eating, we were trying to see as much as we could, which was easier than Kuala Lumpur because we mostly stuck to the central bit of Georgetown. Even though we stuck to the center of the city, there was still plenty to see, including a bunch of stuff right up north by the ocean. At the western bit of that northern strip, in addition to some churches and schools, there are two cemeteries, Protestant cemetery and the Catholic cemetery. The Protestant cemetery is open to the public. It has a big stone slab sign telling a little bit about the history of the cemetery and saying where some important people are buried there. Behind the Protestant cemetery is the Catholic cemetery, which doesn't appear quite as well taken care of and also I don't think is open to the public. The one or two small gates we found leading in were both locked when we checked it. Even without the Catholic cemetery, it's still pretty cool to walk around the Protestant cemetery and try to find some of the people mentioned on the sign. East of the cemeteries is the Esplanade Park, right up next to the ocean. Around the park are a number of things that you can check out, all really close to each other. On the western edge of the park are the Town Hall and City Hall, and the northwest has the Cenotaph. I was most excited for Fort Cornwallis, an old English fort at the northeast of Esplanade Park. You need a ticket to get into the fort. It's also not too large, so it's very easy to take in the whole thing. You can learn a little bit about the history inside, and I particularly enjoyed walking around the top, seeing all the cannons. Unfortunately, when I was there, some of it was undergoing renovations, so I couldn't see everything. In the east of Georgetown, south of the ferry terminal, where you get dropped off after coming from Butterworth, is the Chu Jetty. The Chu Jetty has a lot of wooden houses and is the area, I believe, where a lot of Chinese immigrants who moved to Georgetown lived. My favorite part about Georgetown, though, was the street art. We actually got a map that has a whole bunch of the street art in it, and we walked around one day with the map and tried to find all of it. I don't know who did the street art, I don't know when, I don't know why. All I know is that a lot of it was really cool. Some of it was normal graffiti-style street art with a picture on a wall. Some of it was kind of funny, but the coolest bits were the ones that incorporated real objects into the art. For example, one of the pieces consisted of a squatting child with a helmet and his arms out in front of him, and in front of the picture there was an actual motorbike, so it looked like the kid was driving the motorbike around. There were a couple pieces like that that incorporated real things, and they were hands down the coolest bits of art on the island. The one thing that bummed me out though was there's this picture of Bruce Lee. Hope you can see it. I spent so long looking for that picture and I could not find it anywhere. I think what's happening is the art is getting a little old. We noticed while we were looking at it that the pictures we saw in the map and online were often a lot more vibrant than what we saw on the walls. That could be due to internet photography magic, but I think it's more likely that they're just starting to get old. So some of the pictures are more faded, and some of them, like Bruce Lee, may have been lost to time. But even though they were starting to get old, I still think that they were my favorite part. As always, there's plenty more to see. It looked like there were some temples and some nature things and some other stuff to see if you're willing to get a little farther away from the city center. We also saw a lot of buildings that looked like they had a lot of history behind them if you know where to look to learn it. There's also a bunch of weird stuff like a ghost museum and a trick art museum, which might be kind of cool if you have the time, but I did not go to any of them, so I can't tell you how they were. Georgetown was a great stop after Kuala Lumpur, even if I couldn't find that Bruce Lee picture. If you're in Malaysia and you have the time, definitely check it out. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to watch the walk around video, click that subscribe button below, maybe leave me a like, and leave me a comment with what your favorite piece of street art in Georgetown is. Or maybe tell me where Bruce Lee is. I was really upset I couldn't find him. With a helmet and his arms out. And in front of the picture, the western bit, that's east for you. Train from Kuala Lumpur to Butterworth and from